Hi everyone, welcome to the Under 23 channel. So we're going to be talking about the changes, official changes now. We all knew this was happening. We interviewed Shola a few weeks back and he hinted on. We tried to probe him for a question for the answer, but he's now been officially named as Newcastle's loan coordinator. More on that in a moment. Neil Redfern will take up the role of the Under 23 boss, and we're also going to see Ben Dawson. Well, it's classed as a promotion. He's going to lead the academy from the under 17s all the way to the under 23s, develop himself as a coach, and there's a few changes made. We know that Dave Watson's left the club as well. More on them in a moment. Do head over to the main channel where we've just done a live stream interacting with you, a lot of the fans, about the changes and reading some of your comments out and just interacting with you as well. So head over to the main channel about that. Right, so first things first is Shola is back at the club, official terms this time as well. He's going to be the loan coordinator, and basically his job entails is everybody who gets out on loan, make sure that they're happy, they're getting game time. If they're not getting game time, find out why. He's basically the go-to guy, but the middleman between him and the club. Now, we've seen it last year with Carl Roberts, we've seen it with, in particular, Ellis Sorensen. Barely got 15 minutes in all of his loan spell at Blackpool, so he's going to be there to find out the questions why, report back to the club as a scout, and also just to be there for them as well, because it can be a little bit difficult time if you have no family or friends or partners around, if you are moving and you're a young lad learning to live as well on your own sometimes as well, because not every loan player lives with four other guys, you know what I mean. So Shola Ameobi turned around and said it's going to be exciting. It's a club that's been part of my life for over 25 years, and I was still coming in working as a coach. Being part of that over the last year or two has been great, but now I'm coming in full time into a role where predominantly you are trying to help players. I've been a player myself and understand how hard it can be, especially when you're out on loan. I think it's important that we have someone in charge of that and who can help the player and the club in terms of strategy, why we use the loan system and how we can benefit the player through the system. So Shola obviously goes on to speak about numerous of things there, but we're not reading all that out. So Neil Redfern is now the under 23 boss. Now he was at the club for it was about 6 weeks last season, but he's now picked up the role of the under 23 boss. He'll take over Ben Dawson's side, who's done absolutely magnificent, losing in the playoff final, losing in the Premier League Cup final as well, getting to the last 16, last 8 of the Checker Trade as well, famously knocked out by Sunderland's first team. Our kids were playing Sunderland's first team. So we know that the success of Sean Longstaff, we know about that, and hopefully we'll see more and more youngsters come through. But Neil Redfern turned around and said about his time last season with the club: I really enjoyed my time helping Ben and the staff out for that month, and when you realise how big of a club it is and the potential that these young players have got within this football club, I really think it's an exciting time for the club and the academy. There's some really talented boys in there. I've had vast experience at coaching at academy level, particularly at Leeds, when we got a lot of young players through, so I'm in good position to know what's expected of these boys. So it is a shake-up. It's interesting about the loan manager. Ben Dawson takes up the role of academy, where he'll be seeing players from the under 17s all the way to the under 23s, and hopefully having an easier, smoother transaction, because at the end of the day we all want Geordies coming through into that first team as well. So there's loads of changes happening at the club. Speaking of Sunderland, we have pinched one of their coaches, believe it or not. Mark Atkinson is going to assist Neil Redfern with the under 23s, so we've poached him from the rivals. Joe Joyce was speaking to the club's website, telling of all the changes and how he's going to assist Redfern and all the other changes as well that are in here. Liam Bramley, he'll also continue his role with the under 23s as well, whilst Neil Winskill will now become the club's under 18 head coach, with Kevin Richardson, the former Coventry midfielder, Newcastle midfielder as well, wasn't he, will be his assistant. Now the under 18 had an awful season. Paul puts a post up on our page and they're getting battered 6-0 and 7-1 every week, man. Awful. So that really needs looked into, because we're a little bit weak in that department. In the 23s we are very strong as well. We'll know about Steve Harper leaving the club. That was fairly recently. Dave Watson's left the under 18. That's no real secret. We knew that was going to happen, but they have brought in others, and there's other positions as well. Daniel Garcia will now go to under 16's goalkeeping coach. He follows us over on Twitter. Natalie Henderson, Stephen Harrison, Gary Ives as well have all moved up in different roles as well. So there's big changes, and we've had a great successful system last year with you talk about Sean Longstaff, the development of a lot of under 23s who are maybe needing a loan spell out themselves. So maybe Matty Longstaff, Kellen Watt, Owen Bailey, Elias Sorensen. So maybe they can break through. I'd like to see them given an opportunity over pre-season, but there's loads of changes. Is it a good thing? You would hope so, but for me, loan players need looked after, and the under 18s need a massive shake-up. So this could be that. Let us know what you think as well, and pop over the main channel for the live stream, which we're done.